Come on down, pal. Let's be positive.
Come on, let's be positive. Just stop right there. No negativity. Let's be positive. LBP, let's be positive.
Plenty to be positive about. Perhaps not the weather, but certainly when your doggies get dicked by 66 and then they come back and they beat them hated South Sydney. Matt, let's start there, mate, because the Warriors and the Dogs both won on the same weekend. That doesn't happen too often.
Happened earlier in the year a couple of times, Martin, but no. It's been a bit irregular lately. Both teams bouncing back, and a magnificent weekend for me on the TAB sports betting app, which I'm not sponsored by, but I enjoyed taking their money. The Doggies were fantastic, and the Warriors were even better. I did wonder about the Warriors, and they showed up, and they showed us why they will be a contender come the end of the year, which isn't far away now.
Okay, all right. Do you genuinely believe that? Because I think looking at the next 7 fixtures, and many of them seem winnable. I mean, if the Warriors continue to play like they are playing, I could see, I'm not sure about top 4, mate, but I think definitely a home playoff, which is either 5th or 6th.
Yeah, well, if you have a look at the table, they're 2 points behind the top 4 teams, but the top 4 teams, 4 and away, is quite a lot better than the Warriors. So if it comes down to points differential, they probably won't be top 4. The question really is can they compete with them? And I still like to think they can. And certainly bouncing back, this week I thought for sure they'd go down again. Parramatta had 5 in a row. Yeah, okay, missing a few players with Origin. But the Warriors, they just kept coming, didn't they? And that's the great thing about them. They didn't just win. It wasn't a close game. They didn't sneak home. They returned after a pretty decent loss in the rain. Well, they stood out, I thought. And you can't ask any more than the win.
Win, loss, win, 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 loss, win, loss, 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 win, loss, win, 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 loss, win. What I'm trying to say there is, apart from those 3 losses, and they were to 3 quality teams, Storm, Roosters, Panthers, the team has been able to bounce back, Matt, and that is the key for me. When, if you can avoid consecutive losses, because a loss to Parramatta would have put the team probably in 9th spot, with the Cowboys actually going above them, because of getting that bye. So, yeah, psychologically, once you're in the 8, you want to retain that place, right?
Oh, you just got to fight for it. You have to be there. And the thing is, as you mentioned there, 1 loss and you could be out of the 8. So it's critical if you do lose that you bounce back, and it's got to be the next week. And bounce back they did. And, confidence must be rebuilt for them. Coach is delighted. I think that they're getting a lot from the players that they've started to rely on. And, look, I'm not putting the house on it, but, yeah, they'll definitely be a playoff team. And if they don't make the playoffs, it could be a bigger disaster than last year.
So when your team gets walloped 66-0 last week, what were your thoughts going into that South game? I know South were missing players as well, but, I mean, look, you would have sat down in front of the TV, and I know that you would have been in a miserable mood before kickoff.
It's hard to go in with too much faith, Martin, when you've been flogged like that the week before. And not only that, the loss so big that you're included in a group of teams that had put up 193 points between them in 2 weeks. And when that's your team, all you can think of is loss. And you know what I did? Because I'm being positive this year, I put money on them.
Go on.
I backed them.
No.
I backed them. I backed the Warriors and the Dogs, and then I put them in a double because I knew they'd both win. And I got paid out on the 3 bets. And that is the faith that is required to be a sports fan. I was looking at just throwing that money away. And I almost thought to myself, well, I may as well just go and buy some beer or go and shout jugs down at the Razza Bar. But I didn't. I put that money on the Dogs and they came through. And now we look securely above the wooden spoon. I don't know if you've noticed that. You've got the Warriors at one end. You're thinking maybe top 4, is it possible? Definitely top 8. And the Doggies, on the other hand, I'm thinking, just don't give me the spoon again. And I think we've cleared away enough for me to not be too worried about that. But what have we got? 7
to go.
Is it 7 weeks? 7 or 8 weeks left. So anything could happen, I'm sure. But no, we're back on top of the moon.
Let's be positive. Matt Gunn out of Twizel. We'll talk about Sam Cane in a second, and also email support that's rolling in for your man Eddie Jones, because he called a reporter a smart ass at the press conference afterwards. Look, the guy just said, hey, you'd be delighted you didn't play the South African A team, eh? That Wallabies side looked weak, mate. Let's be honest, weak.
Yeah, well, they did look like they were weak, and they were well beaten. But as Eddie said, we'll bounce back next week, and it's the Pumas. I actually doubt we will. I doubt we will. There were moments. Late last year and early this year where I thought, well, and I said it. We've got a World Cup. I think we do have a World Cup, but we're not in it. We're being the Wallabies. We're not in it. Not on that. I mean, how do we come back from it?
Well, I don't know. Because,
do we have any depth to get us back?
Well, to me, it's all about your big buffers. And if you aren't as skilled as the All Blacks were at being able to run around guys and create the space, I mean, if you honestly believe that you can barge a team like South Africa and go through them, it's a waste of time, mate. You're going to get dicked in the end. Did you see the size of their guys? They look like they were twice the size of yours.
Oh, look, I just have to defer back to Eddie. Don't be a smart ass.
Don't be a smart ass. Okay, you're all right. Ashes, I mean, look, the rest of the world's loving this because we all want a contest, we all want a series, we want the soap opera to continue, we want the pantomime. That would be a fifth test. I don't know whether England are going to get up, but you'd be disappointed at that as well, mate, because you let them bat out a fourth innings chase.
We needed 50. We needed 60 or 70 more runs.
Yep.
And they ended up 7 down getting the target. And, fourth day, third day, second day, it doesn't matter. We were 3 wickets away from it. And maybe if there were a few more runs on the board. But Smith's got to perform. Warner's got to perform. We need everyone on song. I still think we'll win this series. I hope it's not with a rained-out test or a draw or, a drawn test. We'd love to win it. 3-1 will do me. I mean, I've just loved the surrounds of Test cricket, though. Hasn't it just been magnificent? And we talked about it last week, the Bazball legend and the wicketkeeper Bairstow. And over the week, every day, something else would come out about these two to tell us that the spirit of cricket is well and truly still alive and wasn't broken in the second test. I was a bit disappointed something didn't blow up in the third test. I mean, I know there were a few conversations, a little bit of sledging, but nothing like I was hoping for, Martin.
It's Big Moan Monday time. I'm just going to replay this for you, Matt, and then we'll talk about Sam Cane afterwards because this is all about him, okay?
Moan. I'm moaning all the time.
Sam Cane is innocent. Sam Cane did nothing wrong. Stop this rubbish right now. The All Black captain did what he had to do, tripping up that pitch invader. The pitch invader is the criminal here. How do you not understand that, you morons? He's committing a crime by invading the pitch. That means he's the criminal. And some idiot from Sansa now wants to investigate Kane's actions? Investigate yourselves, you twat, for not providing sufficient or efficient enough security to keep these idiots off the field. The players are your product and they've got to be protected from random dick knuckles who think they have a right to flout the law, run on and approach the players. And what's your response, you morons? To give the guy some free All Black kit? Twit! Rewarding the criminal with a gift? You bunch of half-wits. What do you think that's going to do except encourage every other dickwit to try it on? Give yourself an uppercut, Sansa. Sam Cane did nothing wrong.
Devlin.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
The platform.
Matt, let's be positive. I got 2 that need a slap, mate. Not only Sansa. Oh, we got to get him back. He's hung up, is he? I need to get him back because I need to talk to him about this. I got 2 that need a slap here. Not only Sansa, but also the news organisations in this country purporting to be journalists, purporting to actually be newsrooms that have taken a stick to this and beaten the snot out of it. To lead your news last night, News Hub, really? That's why you people actually decided to get into this business? I mean, if it wasn't so shameful, it actually would be laughable. Matt, I was just saying that, the media coverage of this, especially from a news organisation like News Hub, is actually even worse, I think, than the actual incident. Because to drag the All Black captain through this mud, You know, to me, it's like the fleeing driver. The moment you put your foot down and evade the police, what you are doing is deliberately, willfully trying to escape knowing that you have done wrong. That's exactly what it is when you're running onto a field and you're trying to get away from a security guard. How is anything that Sam Cane did wrong in this instance?
I'm astounded. And just let me just say, I hung up there. I thought you've said everything I wanted to say. You've absolutely nailed it right on the head. And you went to this thing and I thought it's all over. But I've got to tell you this. I was astounded when I read that story because I was just flat out flummoxed how him sticking the leg out and helping the inept security guards was something that he needed to be under the gun for. Now, I don't know what kind of insurance policy they've got out about the players, but you remember that big fat South African
Peter
bloke
Van Zyl.
came in and tackled...
Peter Van Zyl, his name was, yeah.
He tackled one of the referees, didn't he? Or did he
and
hit
broke
the
his
scrum?
shoulder. Remember, he dislocated his shoulder or something. Yeah, the ref got carted off.
And I think to myself, and in this instance, what has Cane actually done wrong? And then who wrote his apology and made him do the apology? And why go after the guy like that? And we've been talking about this for much of the year. These idiots running onto fields, running into billiard snooker competitions, spraying paint everywhere, Wimbledon, the Ashes. We've got officials telling the players don't do anything about it because we've got a suspicion it's going to happen, and yet they still can't stop it. I mean, I don't know why we need to turn on Sam Cane. Not everyone's a favourite player, sure. But honestly, to fit this guy out with some gear and give him an apology,
it's unbelievable, isn't it? I know.
It vindicates
well, mate,
him in many
I tell you what, if I'm a teenager...
They've apologised
I'm going to want to run onto the field now and say, great, I'm going to get handed Sonny Bill's medal because I climb onto the field. I'm going to get an all-black kit if I run onto the field. I mean, I'm gobsmacked by this. And for the News Hub to lead their news with it last night, this is clickbait journalism at its worst. Both me and you have worked in this industry for a quarter of a century, mate. We both know this. These people seriously need to get out of the office and actually talk to somebody who isn't the clown sitting next to them.
Well, it's not reading the room, and I don't think I've spoken to anybody that feels the same way they did about it. I mean, the bottom line is read some of the comments on these stories, if they allow comments to go forward. And the comments are, back off, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Give him some extra kit. Give him another sponsorship. I mean, what is the point of turning on him? You know, what if he thought the guy was going for one of the players or the officials? What if it turned out the bloke had a weapon and what he did was courageous and heroic and saved an incident that could have been much bigger than that? To say that he's done anything wrong in my mind is just absolutely mind-blowing. But it's a little bit like where we live these days. The kids are stealing cars and doing ram raids, but there's not enough food on the table. There's a cost of living crisis. No, the reason they continue to do it is because they know nothing happens to them.
Exactly
there
right.
must be punishments. There must be something happen to deter people from doing these things. They threaten us if we don't pay our tax. They threaten us if we get things wrong with work and income, and you read about it all the time. We're sending kids into situations they shouldn't be going into, and no one's held accountable, but he should be accountable for tripping over a absolute wanker. I
Totally agree, mate.
don't know where they're coming from.
Oh, my goodness me!
The platform.
Thank you so much, Matt Gunn, being positive out of Twizel. Resurrection Distillery is his business. Resurrection Distillery on Facebook.